Okay, first chance for us to be in contention in the division, and the division has been off to an amazing start, and so feels like it's a championship type matchup for us, and we got to get ready to go and do a great job. The Niners have looked really good. They played all but won the game last week, and they've done it on both sides of the football. They've been effective on both sides. Their marquee guys are really showing up and really making a difference, and they're playing good ball. So it's a really difficult matchup for us and for anybody, and we've got to make sure we have a great week and prepare and be right and be on it and do all the stuff we need to do to put together a great plan. So back to the Bay Area.
Pete, you always talk about how you treat every game like a Super Bowl championship opportunity. In a week like this, where you're coming off 2 losses, do you want to see a different level of intensity from your guys?
I want to see a different level of our execution on game day. Yeah, I want to see that for sure, and so that it goes every day has got to be great. We practiced well last week. We didn't have any issues with the way we practiced. We didn't miss tempo. We didn't miss focus. That's not what happened. We just got to keep working to get better and get right and carry it to game day.
I know you haven't taken the field yet this week, but what is the vibe? What have the guys been saying since
real serious. They want this to go, the way our expectations are designed, and that means we got to play better, and everybody knows that. And I think coming out of Monday and the meetings on Monday and showing the film and showing where the concerns were, the plays we could have made and the decisions we could have made, and all that, that everybody's real tuned in. This is. I don't know how, we're trying to tune everything in every time, forever, and so, but I think there's a little bit of a different feel about it, and they want to prove it. They want to prove that we're on the right track and we're going to go win a bunch of games.
Is Andre Curtis back? Andre Curtis.
Yes.
Is the D going to practice today?
He can't practice today. He gets cleared today to practice tomorrow. That's part of the protocol. You got to get through the Wednesday. But he had a fantastic weekend of tournament, and he feels great, and we think he's going to be ready to go. We don't see any reason that he's not. So we're very positive because of what he's been through to get to this. But this is part of the staging of it. You have to wait one more day to get on the field.
Was Chris Carson okay Sunday, or what happened with him that he maybe didn't get as many carries in the second half?
He was fine.
Brandon still going to practice today?
Not today. We're going to take it through the week and see how he does. He's feeling better. He's gonna work today. No.
Do you not expect Rashawn to be back this week?
I don't expect him to be back this week. I don't think he'll make it.
Any of the IR guys come back to practice?
Yeah, well, we'll get Kobe Parkinson back out. Cedric will be back out, and we're those guys have worked really hard. They're going to try to compete to be available to play, and we'll see how that goes. One day at a time. I can't tell you any more than that. But both those guys are really ready to go, and mentally now we've got to see how they look and how they fit in.
So not Trey Brown?
Not Trey Brown, not yet. Looking towards next week to start his return.
What about Nigel Warrior?
Not yet.
In the past, you shared metrics and goals that you've got for the offense, whether it is the number of runs versus passes or explosive plays. Does any of that change under Shane in this new offense, or are they still kind of the march you're looking to hit?
No, those are fundamental to the game, and that's just a way of looking at it. I think the number you're referring to is the total number of rushes and completions. That's a old Vince Lombardi number. And I don't know if he might have given it to somebody else before him too. I don't know. I know that goes a long ways back, but it still holds up. And seems to, it's one way to look at it. One marker that you can gauge.
You guys haven't had any runs of 12 plus yards or passes of 16 plus yards in the third quarter this year, and no points scored in those quarters. Is there any concern with now having 3 games under your belt, not being able to sustain drives without those explosives?
No, that's not the concern. No, I mean the concern to not convert the couple third down shots that we had to keep moving is the concern. We got to get that done. But it's worked on both sides of the ball. We haven't been getting off the field on defense in those, in the third quarter either. And so that's why the limited opportunities, and it's why it compounds the issue. When you go off and you don't get back, it's it just amplifies the issue. So, but I'm not concerned about in any regard that we just got to get back out. We got to get the job done because we obviously can, and so we just got to make it happen.
Richard Sherman signed with Tampa Bay. Did you guys talk to them much at the end at all?
I didn't talk to Richard, but we've been in contact, kind of in a way for some time. When we were watching Richard and had the thought in mind that maybe there was a possibility somewhere down the road. I talked to him seriously about that earlier, prior to camp, and so, but wish him the best. I'm glad he's get a chance to get back and hope for the very best for him.
You, is it more complicated than just football because of your relationship with him and what's been going on?
I don't know if it's more. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. More complicated. I don't know that it's not. Let me say this. Yeah, maybe because we know so much. We have so much information and we're so familiar and all that. Maybe so. Somebody else who doesn't, might be a different decision for them to make. The other side of it, I would say that it would work to our advantage in the other side of it too. So if we were willing to do something, so.
When you look at the 40,
LeBron was on with the Mannings one day. Said that you offered him a contract during the strike season, strike shortened season. What's the story behind that?
I can't remember the specifics of that, but you can see why I would. There's been plenty of evidence. I think we were having fun with it at the time. I'm sure there was some real serious thoughts in my head that it could be a good idea, but that was a while back.
Tight end or receiver.
I don't know what he couldn't do. I don't, he's a all-time athlete, and competitor and all that. It's not the same game. It doesn't mean it just necessarily carries over, of course. But, it would have been fun to try and find out. I know that.
George fan obviously didn't play college football. How much do you guys look at basketball players or other sports as one playing football and say, all right, keep in mind this guy?
Yeah, we're always watching, because there are guys that would have that chance, that to be physically within the kind of the profile that could have, and that's part of it, we started with, you saw us with Mark this year, it's just competing, you're just looking for it, and seeing if you can figure out where it does fit together, but it is rare, and it's a big transition to make. The speed of the game and all of the things, it's hard to imagine how much happens when the ball snapped, and what a guy has to be aware of when he's never done it before, or even if he's had limited background, we take a lot for granted too, but when you see you're watching a guy go through the experience for the first time like we did, holy cow, how could we? I can't even begin to tell you all of the things you could tell a guy, and we think, well, how could he handle all that information? It's about hustling and footwork and finishing the play and everything. It's amazing. There's a lot of stuff. We probably take for granted how it looks like easy because you see it so often, but it's a very challenging, difficult game.
Deebo Samuel has the second most yards in the NFL this year. What kind of a weapon has he been for them?
He's really become a special part of their team. I really see him as the star player for them. They utilize him in a fashion where they're always looking to get him the football. They're positioning him to make the plays. They're counting on him to do the things he does well. They've really used him well, in the sense that you can see what he has that's unique. He's really physical. He's fast enough to run away from guys. He's got a great competitive streak about him. So between he and Kittle, those two guys, and just getting the ball, that's a lot of firepower for them, in maybe a little less traditional way than we would think. But those guys they're all explosive, and they make big things happen.
After trading up for Trey Lance, how have you seen Jimmy Garoppolo respond still in starting lineup these first 3 games?
Well, I think he's like a real competitor. He hasn't backed off at all, and I thought he dealt with it really well and handled it. Any times you guys would ask him, his comments, his feelings about it, he handled it really well and welcomed the asset to the team, and they're using him. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back when Joe Montana first started playing, it happens to be the Niners. That's Coach Walsh used Joe, like on third downs and red zone type of situations when he first was breaking them in, and so there's a little something there, but I think Jimmy's handled it really well. He's playing good football and put him in position to win 3 games right out of the chutes.
Kyle Juszczyk, we know how involved he is in the offense. How unusual is it that his role continues to grow as a full?
Yeah, well, he's absolutely rare. There's nobody else like him. They line up with 2 backs in the game and a tight end and 2 receivers, and they can play every personnel that you can put up, the looks and the concepts and the principles of like 3 wides and a tight end and 2 tight ends and 2 backs and all that, 2 tight ends and 1 back, 2 receivers. They do all of it, and it's just for them. It just rolls off their style of play, and it's a big issue. It's different when you see the guys run on the field and they've got a different personnel group on the field, and then that personnel group represents a certain style of play and formations and things like that, and you defend it accordingly. When you don't know, you have to wait and see, and so it's really a very, very important part of their offense, and he's really good.
Apparent communication problems on the defense in Minneapolis, was that among the players, between players and coaches?
If I answered that, I've learned a while back, then I would assume that the first part of the question, which I'm not going to do, So, yeah, you did. So, touche. There's stuff we're just going to continue to get better at, and I didn't see any unusual problems in any regard of communications that held us back. But we have to make sure. One of the things that we do with our players is we adapt to the guy, and if the guy can do some stuff different than another guy, we try to coach him to that. And so not everybody gets coached exactly the same with the same demands, because physically they're not the same players, and their makeup may not be the same. So that. In that maybe a guy could misinterpret. He hears us talking to one guy and then he thinks that means me too. That hasn't happened to us in years. I don't think that happened now. I just think it was a game that there's a lot of frustrations, and we're ready to go. We're moving on.
Marquise Blair, is he going to be up this week?
Yeah, he looks today in the walkthrough. He looks like he's ready to go. He's anxious to practice.
And just Tyler's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
With Rashad, what's his long-term prognosis?
It's a week. He's running. He's working hard. He's just not quite there with all of the football moves that he needs to do to show that he can stay. We don't. He could come out and play right now. We want to make sure that he can stay and be part of it. We don't want to make him put him out when he might still be vulnerable, and so we're going to err on the side of caution in that regard. We got to get him back for good.
How are you guys doing COVID testing wise? Are you okay COVID wise?
We're always working at it. It's a work in progress. We're trying to do it as well as you could possibly do it. We test Mondays and Wednesdays here, and fortunately that helps us.
You think are Bless and Sydney going to play this week?
They're getting closer. Yeah, you'll see. We'll see how the week goes. That's kind of an invasive answer right there, if you didn't know. Okay.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? What do I have for you today? I think today I'm going to talk about meditation and yoga and why it's so important. I personally find a lot of peace in meditation and yoga. I think when I originally started doing it, or when I heard about it, I didn't think it was something for me. I thought it was something that was a lot different than really what it was. But I find, especially in this game, being so mental as it is, I think, having something to find peace is something that the reason why I like to do it. I think it's important for me to talk about it because I think kids watch us play and they watch us perform and they think this game is all physical. So they constantly spend time in the weight room, constantly spend time running. I think they think we don't sleep at all. And I'm trying to slowly unravel that. I definitely get my sleep. I definitely meditate a lot. I definitely do yoga because stretching is a part of the game. I think the reason why I've stayed as healthy as I have been and been out on the field as much as I have been is because I do yoga all the time. I do it at least once a week. You might find me somewhere in Bellevue in one of these studios. And it's fun. It's very peaceful. And it helps me kind of clear my mind with a lot of the stuff that's going on in my life, a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. It's good to have that to step away from. So, kids, if you guys are listening, I encourage you guys to look into meditation. I encourage you guys to look into yoga. And feel free to reach out to me if you need me to point you in the right direction.
What kind of yoga do you do?
I do hatha, and I do hot yoga. I like hot yoga because you get deeper into the stretching. So that's my preference. You can start with yoga. Hot yoga is a little bit intense. So, I wouldn't encourage people to jump right into hot yoga. But, as you progress, that's kind of what I would suggest.
What's your meditation routine?
Say it one more time.
Your meditation routine.
I like to meditate after the games, before the games. I'll meditate on Wednesdays. I try to do it every day. I'm not perfect. But I didn't really know how to, again, meditation was a thing that I thought that you had to sit on like a rock and cross your legs and, be in this crazy space. But, it started with an app. I just had an app kind of guide me through meditation. And once I got comfortable with that, I started to do my own things, and I started looking up stuff on YouTube because you can do a lot of things with YouTube nowadays, and it's kind of grown from there. So I will take you guys' football questions. I'm sure you have a lot of them.
It looked like there was quite a bit of frustration from some of your teammates in the field after plays, body language related stuff. And then there were comments after the game about questions with the scheme. Were those issues stemming from the Vikings doing some stuff that maybe you guys didn't feel like you were fully prepared for? Or were there just a few plays where guys just weren't in the right spots?
I think I'll address the second part first. I think when you look at Trey's and DJ Reed's comments after the game, I think that is also the media as well. You got to be conscious of that because we take a snapshot of what they said and turn it into kind of everything. I think on either Trey's or DJ Reed's, you guys specifically asked them about a screenplay. And, sometimes they get you on a screenplay from a schemes perspective. That's happens throughout the whole game. And so you can't take that one bit and apply it to the whole game. And I think, obviously it's you guys' job to try to figure out what's going on. So I don't fault you guys for that, but I think it's important to put out the whole clip and what was asked. But that being said, obviously when stuff is not going your way, you have frustrations, and sometimes it shows. This is a game that's played with passion, and so when stuff doesn't go right, then the passion comes out. But that doesn't stay away from anything. I've been here for 10 years, and you guys have seen who I've played with for a long time. I'm pretty sure you guys seen Sherm, Mike B, myself, Cam. All these guys have emotions at some point during the game. It's just the process of trying to be great. You want to be good every single play you step out there. And so when there's something that happens that doesn't go your way, I would think it's wrong for you not to be upset about it. So guys expressing their frustrations or having frustrations, I think that's a part of the game. I think it's a part of the beauty of wanting to be great, but we got to be better. And I think that's simple as that. We have to be better. We have to communicate better. We know this. Obviously there's things every year that get us in the beginning of the season, and we figure out a way to stop it. I think a year or 2 years ago, they were running a lot of fly plays, and they were getting outside on the edge because our, the way we have it, we have the end man on our line of scrimmage sit very tight to the line of scrimmage. So the teams were seeing that, and we were running around screen plays. And once we got a hold of that, they stopped it. But, this is something that we have to get a hold on. When you put stuff on film, this is a copycat league. And so they're going to – every team, if they don't have that play that you messed up on, they'll put that play in. And so it's on us to make sure that we see it better, see it faster, which I think if you watch the game, we read it a lot better in the second half, and we just have to make sure that that's consistent.
Was it
you talked
scheme,
about
Bobby, or was it players not doing the scheme properly?
Say it again.
Was the issue scheme or players not doing the scheme properly, or the Vikings just out scheming? What tended to be the systematic problem?
I think it's I think at the end of the day, it starts with the players. I mean, obviously, coaches try to put you in the best position possible, but when you run a play, you are, as a player, you're supposed to execute that play. And so, we have not been perfect on all of our stuff, and so I think that's the growing pains of just getting better each week, and the good teams get better. It's very early in the season, so it's up to us and leadership and myself to make sure we communicate and make sure we play better, and we will.
That play KJ made against the whatever it was, the fourth down stop was a few weeks ago on Monday night, and he wasn't supposed to be there. And I feel like that's what a lot of veterans can be able to do, operate outside the scheme and make plays necessarily that they're not designed to make. When did you be able to start to make those type of plays?
Realistically, I did it as a rookie, but I didn't know what I was doing. I would probably say maybe year 2 or year 3. Give or take. And I think it's just, when you watch a lot of film and you study the game, you just take chances. And I think the growth of your chance taking is, when you're a young player, you're just taking a chance and you're hoping for something good to happen. As you get older and you get more experience, your chances are more education. They're more educational chances. And so you understand that you can take a chance, that the risk, the risk for KJ in that particular play was very low. The worst thing that can happen is maybe he missed the tackle. But if you see the play, the gap was wide open. There was nobody in the gap, and there was an edge defender on the outside, so there's no chance of that ball cutting back to where he was leaving. So I think that comes from film study. That comes from understanding the defense like the back of your hand and knowing where you can make your plays. And I think we're still growing to get to that.
I asked that because that's one of the questions Trey was asked after the game about. He called it a gray area between doing the assignment versus operating outside his scheme when you see something like KJ saw on that play. Do you think that's something that could change what's going on with the defense and more instinctual plays like that are outside of the scheme?
That just comes from experience, you know what I mean? I think a lot of that, if you look at guys like Sherm and guys like Cam and myself and Earl and KJ and Cliff and Mike Bennett, a lot of those plays happen from a crazy amount of film study and, again, understanding when to take risks and when not. There was a specific play where, Sherm picked the ball from like the opposite hash, but he's in 3 coverage. He's the third player on the right side or the left side. And once his guy goes underneath, it eliminates. He don't have no responsibility, so he can go and help out. And so he climbs, and he was very good at that. Every time he did that, he climbed. So, I knew if I was on Sherm's side and I had an over route, there was a good chance that I could leave this route because I know Sherm was coming. But that came from playing with somebody for a long time and trusting that he was going to be there. And so I think a lot of it is just these guys, us just getting out there and trusting one another and having a little bit more experience and, taking those chances, knowing the other guy's going to be there for you.
I was just gonna say, as sort of the leader of the defense and all that, do you feel the need to talk to everybody this week about it? Do you guys do any more of that?
I mean, I spoke to everybody. I feel like we're all on the same page. I think that was the most important thing. Communication is definitely the number one thing. And, we just got to get out of our way. These last 2 games, defensively, we've been in our own way, whether it's the penalties or our execution. We need to get out of our own way. We have the talent. We have the players. We have everything we need to be a great defense. We just need to get out of our way.
When it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, how does he compare this year to last year, what you saw in film, because he was hurt most of last year?
He's definitely getting the ball out fast. So the hits that he's taking are not much because the plays that they're running are designed to make sure that he gets the ball out in his hands very fast. I think he might have the fastest time in the league thus far this season. So that's the thing. They're going to get the ball out of his hands fast. He's making very quick decisions, and his decisions are on point right now. But, we have to find a way to get in his face. We have to find a way to, apply pressure, get him off the spot. And, we look forward to that challenge.
We've seen Robert Kimdiche out there the last couple of weeks. Certainly he's got a lot of energy. What else does he bring to the pack?
Besides energy, probably more energy. If energy is first, then energy is second. Enthusiasm is third. He's a fun guy to play with. He loves his game. He definitely tells he loves life. He is a ball of energy, and he's very strong, very aggressive, and he plays on the opposite side of the opposite team's backfield, which you loved as a linebacker.
We know you guys try to treat every week the same, treat it like a championship opportunity. In a week like this, you're coming off 2 losses, you've got your first division game. Does the vibe feel any different, even if you're not necessarily trying to?
Obviously the vibe's different just because, we're trying to it's been a long time, I think, since we've lost 2 in a row. And going into 2 divisional games in a potential short week after this game, you want to make sure you put your best foot forward, and again, make sure that you do everything possible to make sure that you are not the reason, or you're not in your way of success, especially from a defensive standpoint. So we'll definitely treat this game like we normally treat this game, but we need to have more focus than we've had. We need to make sure that we're locked in, and we make sure we're ready for a battle, because this team is coming off a loss as well. So, you got 2 hungry teams that want to win. We're going into their home, and, I have confidence that we'll come out victorious.
Did you think there was any chance that he would come back here? That he doesn't?
Yeah, I thought, until kind of all this stuff happened, I thought he was, on his way here. And then everything kind of happened, which kind of slowed the process back down. But, at the end of the day, I think he made the best decision for himself. I'm excited that he's back. I think the game of football needs Richard Sherman because of just what he brings, his mind, what he will and will not say. And so I look forward to his podcast. He better have me on his podcast, or else. I still know where you live. And, it'll be fun.
He was coming back before July?
I wasn't sure when, but I felt like everything just made sense. He lives here, he's around here. He had a great relationship with everybody that's here, and so it just made sense.
Do you think that before the incidents, or do you think that before all the recent visits of other teams? That's weird.
Say it all the time.
Did you think that he was on his way here until those incidents in the summer, or before the most recent visiting other teams and the things he did?
I thought there was a good chance that he was going to come back, prior to the incident that happened. And then I think, like every team, I think they were just trying to figure out everything after that. So at that point, you just make the best decision for yourself.
You saw LeBron said that on Monday nights that the Pete off the contracts to play here.
That's dope.
What kind of football player did you feel that way?
I don't know. He would have been a big target. I would have definitely just, if I got in in the red zone, I would have just threw it up and let him use that 40-something inch vert to go catch the ball. But, him being that big also, that's a lot of area for somebody to hit. And so I think I watched that interview. One of the reasons why he stopped playing football was because he kept getting hit. And, basketball, you don't get hit in basketball. It's a nice life over there.
Do you think other teams are copying what Indianapolis had success-wise with screen game? Seems like teams are having success.
I mean, I think every team has screens in their repertoire. So I don't know if they're copying it, but I think if you watch the way we've played screens the last few games, if you had them, I definitely feel like they're going to go up on your play call. So it's something that I felt we did a better job in the second half of the Vikings game playing, but until we nip that in the butt, they're going to get very creative with the screens, especially this team. This team has fullback screens, running back screens, tight end screens. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought the young guy back there and did a QB screen. So we will see screens this game, and we'll be ready for them.
From your perspective, what would have been the biggest issues defending screens?
I think a lot of it is the way they kind of set it up is they'll do a play pass, and when you do a play pass, it's designed for it to get the underneath defenders to come up a little bit, and when you get them to come up, you have to panic out. And as your defenders are panicking out to get underneath the routes that are happening, that's when they're setting up the screen. And so sometimes, especially one of those screens to the field, when you set it up, it's like four linemen against like maybe two guys. So sometimes you're outnumbered. So the best way is to make sure you read it faster, be instinctive on it, and take a chance.
How much does not having KJ impact your guys' ability? Because that was what he was best known for.
Yeah, KJ was a screen master, but a lot of KJ screens, he just over time got really good at seeing them, and so he almost, I felt like, discouraged the screens his direction for the most part. And a lot of the screens that happen come on that backside, which is where KJ was sitting. And so, you get a challenging guy like that, and that's where you want to go. He's going to find that every time. Good. Appreciate it.
What's the vibe like?
I would say competitive. Trying to get back to our identity and just play Seahawks football. I know past couple of weeks we haven't been finishing how we know how to. So just getting back to our roots and back to what we know how to do.
What do you think the biggest reason for that is in the second half?
Not getting in a rhythm. I know we didn't have the ball on offense, long enough, and then we kept putting the defense back out there on the field too fast. So, on offense, we just got to execute and, run the clock out.
Last week, or after the game, Russ commented on your focus and what you brought to practice. Pete Carroll earlier this week talked about an intentional decision you made at the halftime mark of the Tennessee game. Do you remember that conversation with Pete and the decision?
Yes, I remember the conversation, but after I see one penalty thrown on me, then I'm back locked in and trying not to hurt the team, any further.
It seems like that you are generally a focused person. What is it about refocusing, right? Why did you need to, and what does that actually mean?
not hurting the team. Like I said, when I got the first penalty, even in the Colts game after I got that taunting penalty, it's just a part of refocusing and capturing the moment, and just being where my feet are, not being too high or too low, and not hurting the team, any more than I did.
Is that the idea behind? It looked like you handed the ball to the official and pointed back like you were on your way back to the sideline already.
No, I mean that's just not trying to bring too much attention or get too high or too low for the moment. It was still the first quarter. That was the first drive of the game, so there's still a lot of football left to be played.
Do you feel like defenses are doing anything differently to you guys from the second half to the first half, or making an adjustment at halftime that's?
No, sir. I mean, we just have to execute on our part. Not pointing fingers at the defense because they're giving us the same looks that we've seen on film or that we've seen at practice. So it's just a matter of us executing our game plan.
For you personally, getting in the rhythm on that opening drive last week, what did that do for you?
I mean, I don't think it did anything, for me because, like I said, I try to stay focused, stay in the game, whether that's blocking or catching the ball, and just try to stay, even engaged when I'm not getting the ball. So, I mean, it didn't do anything for me. Just trying to bring a spark to the team, in the first half.
In terms of getting into a rhythm, is there a difference between coming out kind of cold in the first quarter versus coming out cold in the third quarter? I mean, in both cases, you haven't played for a little bit. You know what I mean? The difference?
No, there's not much of a difference. For me at least. I try to stay engaged, whether that's blocking. If I'm drive blocking somebody, that's engaging for me, and that keeps me warm and engaged in the game.
What does it do? Maybe it's not just the whole offense. When you guys are off the field for 8 minutes in the third quarter or something like that.
Right. I mean, we get out of rhythm because when we're always on the field and calling plays, Shane gets in a rhythm, we get in a rhythm, Russ gets in a rhythm. So the game comes to us much easier when we're on the sideline. We can't feel the game out, and plus the defense is out there for way too long.
What do you do at halftime? Some guys taking showers, some guys meditate almost. What do you do?
Drink some Gatorade. That's it. Listen to Shane. Make some halftime adjustments, but no, I really haven't thought about what I do at halftime. I'm just chilling, waiting for Shane.
You talk forever and you make all these changes, but there's not much time at halftime, right?
Right.
You're 8 minutes? You're really
exactly. I know it's shorter than college, so we're in there. Andy draws the blitzes on the board. Shane makes his adjustments, and we talk for a little bit. Just go back out there and play our game.
In terms of opposing trash talkers, were anybody on the Niners particularly good last year?
I'm sorry, what?
Opposing trash talkers,
right.
Did anybody on the Niners stand out in any of the 2 games last year?
I'm deaf on game day, so I can't hear.